advice on eating in a park?
Eat before your food freezes. My cheese is real cheese like brick.
Yeah. Smile. What up? Lost in the woods with Courtney. Sailing Anticipation has taken it
To the mountains.
Up to the mountains, yeah. Anyway, we are freezing, so
It is what?
16 degrees. Yeah, 16 degrees and falling.
Right now, but it's going down.
So we'll catch you guys back at the boat. Alright, now that we're back from vacation, the boat is cleaned up. I've got a freshwater pump that I'm about to install. I've also got hoses and so many fittings. So today's goal is to run as many hoses as I can, and then we're going to put the freshwater pump in its new permanent home. So this space was being used by the engine battery bank. And I frankly didn't like that. So I moved the engine bank into the engine room with the other batteries and cleared out this space. This is where the new freshwater pump will live. So what I really like about this space is that it's close to the center of the boat. It's really close to the water tank. And it'll really help us cut down on the amount of hosing that we need running fore and aft in the boat. So right now I'm standing on top of the water tank. I really don't need to. So all the hoses you see in here are the old water hoses. They will all be replaced with nice shiny PEX hose, and hopefully I'll be able to remove some of them altogether. Really all we need is one fill going in to the tank, one drain coming out of the tank, and we should only need one line running through here to go to the aft head, and once back there I can split it into however many hoses I need. So now I have a 4-inch hole saw. I'm not going to drill the hole yet, but eventually I'd like to put a 4-inch hole in here. That'll be an inspection port and allow me to see how much water's in the tank. More importantly, that'll also allow me to clean out the tank using a wetback. This is the suction for the tank. I don't have a fitting to go from that to the new 15mm hoses yet, so I'm going to have to order something custom, but in the meantime, I'd like to at least get the suction hose run down to here, so that when that arrives, I'll just be able to pop that on. So ordinarily the red tube would be for hot water, but I'm actually going to be using it for the tank suction line. I don't plan on installing hot water on the boat for the near future, so this will actually just help us to identify which ones are the suction hoses and which ones are the discharge hoses. So this is the only one we'll actually need to get to the aft bathroom. I'm going to run it all the way into the bathroom so that the whole line can run free and clear into that space. So in the aft cabin you have two lines that terminate through the bulkhead and come up to where the sink is. I've destructed the sink because I'm planning on replacing all of the black water system with a composting head. But for now I just need to get that blue PEX hose where that red and tan line are, and just out into this space, so that when I am finished replacing all the black water system, I'll be able to hook the sink back up with the new hose. Well, that's a pretty good reason to stay current on your tetanus shot. I've got some hoses out, and I need to finish running the blue pressurized line under the floorboards, but I'll do that some other day. I'm getting pretty beat up doing all this. We're taking a kitty cat break on Courtney's boat. That's a good gypsy. Gypsy here is a very good boy. We love him very much. D'Artagnan is a very special sweet boy. But he doesn't like me very much, so he likes to hide back here. So now the blue line goes through this bulkhead in the bathroom, under the battery boxes in the engine room, behind the fuel tank and underneath the floorboards, and out into the main cabin where it will connect to the freshwater pump. Now this is a very important upgrade because right now there's only one connection between the aft cabin's head and the freshwater pump. That is going to eliminate any risk of leaking developing anywhere between those 2 points. And that'll make it a lot easier for the next owner 10, 20 years from now to go in and replace all of that if they so choose. Mounting the water pump is literally as easy as find a spot and then screw in the 4 screws. I've got the filter set up on this side, the outlet will be on this side. I'd like to get it wired in before I start all the connections. This is the intake connection. It'll basically come up here, go to the sea strainer, and then the output will just come right down here to the discharge line. And it's really as simple as that. 2 wires to connect it. It does have a 3rd wire for a pump running signal wire. I don't have a signal for this, so it's really irrelevant on my boat. But yeah, this has been a very simple setup. Okay, we're all wired up now. Next I need to finish the plumbing and then we're pretty much good to go. So that 2 feet of PEX hoses, basically all I have left. And I'm still short about maybe 10-20 feet, so I'll have to go order more. But right now I've got the intake for the pump and the output all the way back to the aft cabin hooked up. Over here I've got the fill line going all the way into the tank inlet, and then I have a vent line coming off of that going back into the engine room where there's a vent. So until I get the parts that I'm missing, we'll have to call it a day. I am on night watch, and I have to be very quiet because there are still people sleeping, and I'm probably not supposed to be filming anyway. Alright, so I think I've decided where I want to put the inspection port. One thing that is going to make this a little bit challenging is that the base of this inspection port is about 4.5 inches in diameter, and I was only able to get a 4-inch hole saw. So what I think I might have to do is put the hole off center from the actual placement, and then I'll have to come in and cut out the actual diameter there with a normal handsaw or something. So the tank actually has a cord laminate. You see a little bit of fiberglass, about a 1/2 inch of plywood, another fiberglass, and then it looks like a gel coat interior. Another thing I'm learning reaching down into the tank is that it actually has a baffle system that separates the tank into a lot of different little parts, and that makes sense because you don't want it sloshing back and forth, but that does make it harder to clean out the interior. So while this inspection port is going to be great for just checking the water level, for actually cleaning and getting access to the entire tank, I don't think that's possible. So typically I think we'll need to come in and chemically clean it with like bleach or something, but beyond that I don't think there's a way for me to clean out every bit of that tank. The inside of the tank doesn't really look all that dirty. There's a little bit of discoloration, so what I'll do is I'll use my vacuum on the wet vac mode and actually suck what is left out of there. We'll do a good job cleaning out all the dust that I just put into it, and then we'll be able to install the inspection port. Alright, I have expanded the hole here so it now fits the access cover. I also have the access cover covered in mold release. My plan is to coat the edge of the access cover with thickened epoxy and then shove it down in the hole. By doing so, I'll create a perfectly round hole that matches the outside body of the access cover housing. Alright, with the access port pulled out, I've got a perfectly good hole now. It's the perfect size to fit that and make a nice seal around it, and more importantly, the coring in the tank won't be exposed to water. So now I can confidently install that semi-permanently. I'm going to use a watertight sealant around the edge to keep that in, and if I need to come back and replace it for whatever reason, I'll have that option. So the water filter is going to be mounted on a wooden block, and that wooden block is currently being epoxied to the hull. That'll help avoid drilling any holes into the hull, as that's definitely not ideal. But once that's secure, I'll connect that directly to the pump outlet. And then on the other side over here, that's where I'm actually going to put the manifold for all the different water connections. I had to kind of change up things here a bit to accommodate this very large filter. So I chose our water filter based on the availability of cartridges. These are pretty cheap and they do a great job. I think each one lasts for about 1,000 gallons of water. And considering I think my water tank only holds about 100 gallons or so, so that's, you know, multiple times the water tank before I have to change these out. Got these sink fittings soaking in vinegar, and I'm going to let them soak for a few more hours. Once they're done, we'll install them and make the final connections on the kitchen sink. And now our sink connections are made, so we're ready to put water in the system. I'm going to fill the tank and bleach it and get it clean, and then we're going to run water through everything and check for leaks. Alright, I'm using a generic RV filter to put filtered water into the tank. I want to use filtered water because it's important that whenever you put water in the tank, it's clean to start with. That'll help keep a clean tank clean, and since we are trying to clean the tank right now, it's even more important for that reason. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the water on. I already went down below to check to make sure that nothing is going to leak. So I'm going to go keep an eye on it from down below and watch the water fill up inside the tank. Alright, we're running the water again. We're trying to drain the entire tank out. I had to go through everything and fix a few leaks down here. There's still one little drip, but I'm not going to worry about that right this second. My main concern is getting all the bleachy water out of the tank so that I can put normal drinking water in and hopefully start using it soon because I'm getting kind of thirsty. Well, I could be filming a nice long outro, but I think the main star of the show here is running water on board anticipation. So we'll cut to that.
Like throw up a bunch of snow.
Yeah, go for it.
Whoa! Oh, that went in my collar. Not a good idea.
Yeah.